Since the collapse of the Soviet Union at the end of the Cold War, NATO has enjoyed almost guaranteed dominance across all domains of warfare. A key aspect of this dominance was rooted in NATO's unrivaled technological achievements in electronic warfare. Electronic warfare, also known as EW, is any action involving the use of the electromagnetic spectrum or directed energy to control the spectrum, attack an enemy, or impede enemy assaults. Since its inception, NATO has had technological advantages, but now the gap is rapidly closing between NATO and Russia under the Putin regime. Currently, Russia continues its pursuit of overall revisionist goals, which for the last decade has included reuniting majority Russian-speaking areas. Examples of this drive have been evidenced with Russia's actions in Georgia in 2008, eastern Ukraine in 2014, and the subsequent annexation of Crimea. Narva, a majority Russian-speaking enclave in Estonia, could be next. Due to its cultural ties and location, NATO sees a 5-to-1 Russian advantage across the river. EW is a key deterrent and force equalizer due to the reality that the Narva scenario involves NATO forces being outnumbered significantly by Russian forces, with only a river separating them. In Narva, NATO forces are generally split between standard Estonian infantry and alliance mechanized infantry units. Since Estonia is modernizing both its armored and air force units, the majority of this support heavily relies on NATO units from the US, UK, Canada, and France. Turning towards Russia, a combination of motorized and airborne infantry is within a day's maneuver of Narva, plus 2 air regiments based at St. Petersburg and a Spetsnaz brigade housed close to the border, while the Western Alliance can quickly deploy helicopters and air-mobile troops to confront a Russian advance. There are only 129 tanks that realistically could participate in a short-notice Baltic scenario. This imbalance is seen with infantry fighting vehicles. However, such an imbalance is exactly where a continued technological edge can make up the difference. Electronic warfare superiority by land, air, sea, and cyber serves as a force multiplier and, in this case, equalizer. This technological edge NATO had over Russia has narrowed considerably in recent years, yet within some NATO member states it is larger. Considering these offsets, force multipliers, and equalizers when outnumbered by force strength, acknowledging the short-term disadvantage in the region, and recognizing the symbolic and psychological blow of a military defeat and breach of the territorial integrity of a NATO member state, there are several policy recommendations. Prioritize cultural and military integration of Russian-speaking Estonians in Narva by emphasizing the symbolic representation of free and plentiful livelihood within NATO versus less free and restrained livelihood in Russia. While not directly related to EW, this would cut off any Russian attempts to drag Narva under its influence. Reorganize and further integrate NATO military units and technologies, particularly those related to EW. This would assist Estonia while they modernize their military in a way only NATO can provide. Implement a program in the vein of Lend-Lease to share EW technologies with Baltic states. This would set Estonian modernization on a fast track by leveraging existing NATO capabilities. Utilize offensive cyber capabilities as both a force multiplier for NATO forces in the Baltics and as a deterrent and force equalizer against Russian EW capabilities in the region. Invest in future in-development technologies, especially directed energy, to be fielded within a 5 to 10-year timeline. While the nature and development of these technologies remains classified, any new technologies will serve a disruptive role in EW and deter any potential threat from Russia. While not all of these recommendations need to be implemented to avoid the outcome described in the Narva scenario, they do, however, highlight critical areas where NATO needs to focus its attention. The strength of NATO rests in its ability to provide security to all members. This ability can only be carried out by leveraging the unique technological capabilities harnessed by its members. Therefore, leveraging the EW capabilities that already exist within NATO is crucial to strengthen the security of the alliance in the face of a relentless adversary.